All right, listen up. Get up close. Get in close. Let me tell you the GameTom fighting game method. That's the GTFGM for short. Okay, now, step 1, slap in the cartridge. Okay, you're good to go, right? You got the cartridge, you're good to go. Slap it in. Step 2, pick a character that looks appealing. Step 3, mash. Step 4, when that maneuver inevitably fails, open the start menu and look up some easy, doable-looking combos and techniques. Step 5, mash. Step 7, profit. That's it. That's the GTFGM. If you want it, you can get the rest of my DVD box set. It's a 6 to 8 week program. It's a 12-week program. Thank you. Good night. Okay, so real quick, this is part 2 of my 2-part video, Top 10 Fighting Game Bosses. If for some reason you haven't seen part 1 yet, click right here and head over there right now. I would recommend starting there first, but, you really don't have to, It's your life. You want to watch part 2 first. You want to have your dessert first. That's fine. Just have fun. Go for it.
Number 5.
Sometimes, a name just kind of jumps out at you, right? Like, it's just kind of a big, imposing name. Bernstein. When you think Bernstein, you think pretty much... You're not thinking bare bones. You're thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Well, this game taught me to fear that name for the very first time. God Rugal from Capcom vs. SNK 2 Millionaire Fighting 2001. I love that title. Long titles with lots of subtitles are the best. Still doesn't beat Super Street Fighter 2 X Grandmaster Challenge for Matching Service on the Sega Dreamcast, but, some of us are just special like that. Rugal Bernstein was already one of the toughest bosses in fighting game history, but when combined with the dark Hado of Akuma, he becomes nigh unstoppable. Being a secret boss, he can get away with being very, 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 very overpowered without question. His attacks do much damages, and he almost always hits first. Priority? He has it. But at least he's a snappy dresser, eh? Right? Remind you of anyone? Huh? Guys? Come on. Come on. Long story short, you don't want to tangle with Rugal Bernstein.
Number 4.
The Killer Instinct games are some of the finest in fighting game history. No game that I can think of handles the concept of combos better. I mean, they named a character TJ Combo. Kind of goes with the territory. These combos can be deadly enough in the hands of the player, but when given to an extremely aggressive AI who can execute them with deadly precision and little to no startup, they can border on the obscene. Gargus in KI2, or KI Gold on the N64, is one such boss. Not only is he incredibly aggressive, rivaled in my opinion only by Glacius, but he can also fly and spam fireballs to his heart's content. Pair that with a taunt that actually heals him as he laughs at your futile efforts, and that makes him an incredibly OP final boss. OP stands for overpowered, often used in fighting games, but many games in general to describe very unfair bosses. Probably more often used by players who just can't quite cut it and want to have an excuse to complain. But it doesn't stop there. You see, even if you can get his health down to 0, you still haven't beaten Gargus. The only way to beat Gargus is to get his health down to 0, and then uppercut him off the stage. This means, even if you can deal enough damage to beat him, it's all for naught unless you can deliver that real finishing blow. But boy, is it satisfying when it lands. Yeah, woo! Yeah, Doctor! Yeah, I did it! I did it! The mic's still on, isn't it?
Number 3.
Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat 9. Okay, so you knew this guy would be showing up on this list sooner or later. Anyone who's ever played Mortal Kombat would see that coming. Shao Kahn is a jerk. He is absolutely overpowered, and he knows it, taunting every few seconds of inactivity. Literally. He has range and strong close-quarter skills as well. His only real weakness is, well, that he's a jerk. Unless you're godly at this game, you pretty much just wait until he taunts you and then punish him. Since this happens often, you'd think it'd be a piece of cake, but if he gets a hit in, you'll be feeling it all week. Simply put, Shao Kahn is one of the most overpowered bosses in all fighting game history, and he is one boss we all just love to hate, making his spot at number 3 well earned.
Number 2.
I am Onslaught.
Marvel vs. Capcom always provides a lot of polish, stylish gameplay, and best of all, fun. Fighting Onslaught, however, was vexing. You fight Onslaught in stages. Stage 1 has you fighting this very large psychic man-robot death machine like you would any other character. His moves do a lot of damage, but for the most part, he's fine. Sometimes he calls a sentinel in to fight for him, which is annoying, but for the most part he's fine. But then, when you think you've won,
Behold my mighty hand.
you behold his mighty hand. His final stage reveals himself to be a huge, screen-filling behemoth, with lasers and giant robot fists ablazing. It's a huge relief when you finally win. But don't expect to get away from this fight without hearing one certain phrase at least once.
The dream is dead.
No, Onslaught, the dream is very much alive. At least until I met our number 1 on this list. And, of course, before we get to that number 1, here are a few honorable mentions. We here at GameTom would like to humbly thank all you overpowered and jerky characters in video games for beating down on us so hard. For those of you who didn't make this list, we still humbly thank you for your service. Because if it weren't for you, video games would be a lot more tame. The victory wouldn't seem quite so sweet, and when we finally overcome, we look at you with more respect. We beat you, but you made us earn it. And it reminds us that if we put our hearts to it, we can accomplish anything.
Number 1.
Kaiser Knuckle. A little-known game that never made it outside Japanese arcades. For those seeking the ultimate fighting game challenge, this is your final frontier. I have never faced the General. I don't have to. It supposedly took Japan 20 years to beat it. Japan! And that's not racist. It's a known fact they get most of these games before we do, and sometimes we don't get them at all. And even with their head start, they took 20 years! With teleports, spammable projectiles, and almost zero startup or cooldown, he truly is the perfect soldier. Nuff said. For those of you willing to try your luck, it is available online through emulation. For those of you who make the attempt, I wish you well. You know, what I really love about fighting games is just that sort of unrivaled challenge that they offer that most other video games don't. Even in the other difficult games like platformers or puzzle games, you're not so much overcoming a person as you are an obstacle or a challenge. In fighting games, it's you versus them. It's one-on-one, mano-a-mano, and I think there's a certain mystique about that. Fighting really hard, training, mastering those combos, memorizing those inputs, just to come out on top against that one single solitary fighter. Warrior against warrior. And it always reminds me how truly, if you want something in this life, and you work hard enough, you can achieve it. With a little bit of help from God above, we could pretty much darn well do anything. And that's why I will be challenging the General at some point. And when I do finally overcome that obstacle, you guys, I'm sure, will be the first to hear it. And until then, thanks guys for watching my newest video. Sorry it took me so long, and here's to more excellence in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And really, if you think I missed any, leave those in the comments below. I would love to check out a new challenge. Thanks guys, catch you later.